Let's take a look at a brief introduction of working with Lightwave Modeler. Right now I have pretty much the default layout of Lightwave Modeler. I can optimize this. I can set it up however I would like. If I want to go and work with one window, I can. I usually like working with four when I'm just getting started. So what I'm going to do is just start creating a few basic objects so that you can get an idea of the workflow of Lightwave. So let's start with something as simple as a box. If I start with a box, I'm going to, in my top view, I'm going to go ahead and create a square and then bring it out into the third dimension here in the back view. And of course, I can rotate it around a perspective view. I'm going to change my display mode to textured wire so we can see the wireframe on this OpenGL shaded object. If I wanted to, I could create some new geometry on here by hitting Shift D, which is the shortcut for multiply, subdivide. Okay, and now I have a little more geometry to work with. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn symmetry off, so I'm just working on one half of my object. In a little bit I'll show you symmetry. I'm going to select these two polygons, and I'm going to multiply it by using extender, actually extender plus by hitting E. I'm going to stretch it in, move it down. I'm going to hit E again on the keyboard, move it up, rotate it. Now I'm going to select these two polygons and extend those as well. And what I've done is I've really roughed out basic geometry for the start of a thumb with a thumbnail. Okay. Now, what I did to turn on subpatches was I used the tab key. Just by hitting the tab key, I can go from a low poly polygonal object to a high poly subpatch or subdivisional surface object. This is really important now that games are becoming more and more high poly mixed with low poly. So you have a game like Doom 3 where you use a low poly object for in-game, but it's using the normal displacement information of a high poly object. If I wanted to, I could continue working with this. I could just, in subpatch mode, I don't have to be in polygonal mode to keep adding geometry to this. I could keep building on and do the finger, and at any time go back to low poly or high poly, right? So let's hop into another layer and look at some more modeling. So I'm going to go ahead and start with a box again. Okay, but this time before I make or commit to the shape, I still get my blue handles on there to show that I'm still making it. If I wanted to, by hitting in or using the numeric button down here, I could key in numbers, do it all numerically, but I'm just going to freeform it here. Using the arrow keys, I can add some segments. Okay, so now I have a few segments to work with, and let's center that. Okay, and if I want to go ahead and put symmetry on, I can work on this half of my object, and this half is going to update automatically. So let's start a little basic character. So what I'll do is select this polygon, this one's selected. Using the multiply bevel tool, I'll make the upper thigh, the lower thigh, the upper knee, the lower knee, the upper calf, the lower calf, the upper foot, and the lower foot. I'm going to expand my selection, and I'm going to stretch out the feet in the side view. I've got my body and legs. It's looking a little boxy, but again, if I hit the tab key, I'm back in sub D mode. Okay, so I'm going to use the drag tool to move in the back of the knee, move in the shin, kind of tighten up the ankle there. Maybe pull out the belly a little bit, push in the back. Pull out the butt a little bit, and let's go ahead and put a neck and a head using bevel again. Expand the selection and rotate up. Okay, and I could just select the arms here and do the same thing, bevel, bevel, bevel. But I'd like to move on and show you a few more options in Modeler, a few more features in Modeler. I showed you a little bit of beveling. Why don't I show you a pretty cool tool called Magic Bevel. This is one of my favorites. I'm going to go ahead and remove some of the segments. Let's subdivide that again. Let's go into one window so that we can see what's happening here. And I'm going to go over to Multiply, and under the Extend More, I'm going to use Magic Bevel. it puts these little handles on each one of my polygons that I can just click and drag out. Okay, click and drag out. Now, if I hit the Tab key, of course we're back in subpatch mode. And let's go back to Magic Bevel. And I'm going to pull that out. And see, I can work in polygonal or subpatch mode in this. Right? This is a great way for doing hair or for doing tree trunks, any kind of vines, anything like that. It's a fast way to work. Okay, so that's just one of the other multiply tools. If I want to, I don't have to start with a box. I can work with the pen tool and actually create out my polys. I have all kind of other all other kind of primitives to work with. But let's take a look at the sketch tool. The sketch tool allows me to work and draw lines or splines, and I can also use, if I like Bezier handles, if I'm used to working in Illustrator or freehand or even Photoshop, I can draw my splines this way. Also, if you are used to working in Flash, spline draw is a little more like working in Flash with the way it handles curves, the way it handles splines. But let's go ahead and delete those. And I'm going to go into one window by using my min-max button. And I'm going to draw a quick little sketch. So I'm going to draw just a quick little shape here, like so. And I'm going to create, using the lathe tool, I'm going to spin this around and I'm going to create a little cartoon, fat, chunky spray can, all from a line. Pretty basic tool, the lathe tool, but there are some creative uses for it. Like, say we wanted to do the same thing. I'm going to do a really quick line here. Come down. Okay, and if I were to lathe this line, well, right now I've got some kind of barrel or something which isn't very impressive, but using the numeric window, I can change the sides to 4 sides. Okay, and now I've got a boxy barrel, unless I flip it inside out by hitting the F key, and then I crawl inside, and now I'm in a room that has molding, right? So it all depends on how you put the tools to use. Okay. If I wanted to work with text, if I wanted to create 3D text, well, right now the text tool is ghosted out because I need to go and add a true type font. I can add as many as I want. Let's just grab one. I like Arial. I like Arial Black. It's a nice, big, fat, bold font. There we go. And I can just type out what I want it to say. I'm going to zoom in on that. And if I wanted to add 3 dimensions to this, well, I just extrude it out and I've got 3D text. Okay, so that's a basic look at some of the tools and kind of a quick start guide into getting into modeling inside of Lightwave Modeler.